of the comments. Right, just without. That's good.
It's good. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody's smiling face, and I want to call this meeting to order. Yes, that's confirmed. We are now live streaming. Could you take the roll, please, Miss Mass?
Mr. Tom Looney.
Here.
Mr. John Payne.
Here.
The Honorable Chaz Beasley. Ms. Lisa Eastep. Mr. Jeffrey Lamb.
Here.
Mr. Bill McBrayer.
Present.
Dr. Dale McGinnis.
Here.
Mr. Scott Ottman.
Here.
Sarah West. Present.
Thank you. Ms. Carpenter, could you read the ethics and conflict of interest statement, please?
Sir, in accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every member of this committee to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearance of conflict. Does any member of the committee have any no conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matter coming before us today? If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from any undue participation in the particular matter involved. Letting know, sir.
Well, we will move on. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
McGinnis, McBrayer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We have any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes. All right, the minutes have been presented. Are there any changes or questions from the March 19th minutes for the executive committee? Have a motion? Mr. Kane, have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Alvin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay, Amy, opening comments. I'll give some opening comments, but I'll just keep going right into number one, which is the presidential search. I'm going to just give a few highlights up front of kind of the last 45 days or since our last board meeting. And it's been a pretty amazing period of time. Our gala, thanks Amy and team, Mary, Nathan, did an incredible job. I mean, we had record attendance, sold out, packed house. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Community college days, Deanna and Alex, where are you? Alex is here. Phenomenal. 41 colleges attended. But even more importantly, from a board perspective, there were 12 board members there that participated. That was by far double what we had the previous year. So just great participation and excitement. I will come back to the search here. Want to mention that President Cox was also recognized last month by the trustees and the presidents at an event here in town. At the trustees event, he got a map of the state, a number of speakers, including myself, who provided comments on his retirement and his time here at the community college system. So I thought it was a very appropriate and very exciting evening for you, and his whole family joined, which was great.
It's really nice tonight.
Thank you. Tomorrow, we've got another $6 million. The foundation will be, we have two donors for $3 million each. So we will have broken the $60 million mark. I want to thank President Cox for his role and leadership in helping raise these funds. I had a good discussion with Arnold Ventures last night. They're pleased with what we're doing, and they want to see if we can really begin expanding and improving outcomes with our apprenticeship program. So that relationship is very strong. And one of the things we discussed for our summit here in October is really begin to really focus on other states, programs they're running, and key programs from organizations like Arnold Ventures and the things they're seeing from a philanthropic perspective and the areas these organizations are investing. And a lot of that is on outcomes. A lot of the philanthropic organizations are focused on outcomes, which is exactly where the $6 million that we'll be receiving tomorrow is going to be focused. It's going to follow kind of the path of the Arnold Ventures grant that was provided a number of months back. Business North Carolina, there were 5 members of the community college system that were recognized as most influential leaders. And that included Tony Clark, Scott Rawls, Katie Diedemeyer, Laura Leatherwood, John Kane, and myself. So again, just showing the leadership. I'd like to see that up to 10 next year and double it. We're going to continue to build our relationship with Business North Carolina and get the message out about the impact our system has on the overall state and people who benefit from our community colleges. I want to give a shout out to Alex. It's going to talk more about the Propel for sure, but the one thing that you doing businesses, you don't get any money until you show some kind of an ROI. So today in the Propel brochure, which Alex will take you through, we finally have an ROI. I have met with a number of legislators over the last 2 days, and Jeff and many around the table, John Kane, now going to make an investment. You want to, you're going to get back, and we've got to have that going forward. That everything we do, what are we actually going to deliver for that investment? So, Alex, I know this was painful for you, but you got it done. You got stretched, and I'll have you take the team through it here in a few minutes. Amy's in the process of scheduling our 26th summit. Pendo participated at the event at the gala. And we have one of our new best allies here. I won't show this yet, but the CEO couldn't attend. So he had one of the gentlemen who worked in the coffee shop who had IDD and was part of the program. And he was so excited to sit next to Luke Farley. And he had his picture taken with Luke at the table. And the next morning, he sent Amy this picture. It was him in the elevator at Pendo as he went out to go to work. So I showed him the picture a couple of places. But you know, it really shows the impact that these programs have on students, changes their lives. And he was so excited that Pendo, I said, they called the next time and said, you know, our house is open to you anytime you want to run an event. So those are the kind of relationships we're building. And I think we had a small event last night. We had Old Tech in there talking about their fantastic success with the apprenticeship program, the outcomes from the apprenticeship program. And another great thing is we recognize Caterpillar at a gala event. And what did Caterpillar do yesterday? Announced 600 new jobs. So our programs are having impact. But I always look at Nathan and say, we got to get these words out. Caterpillar comes out, we got to let them know. And we were a major piece of that through our apprenticeship program and other programs of the community college system. So a lot happened over the last 30 days, a lot of exciting things, a lot of excitement around the system, and a lot of good work going on across the street that carry a lot of these programs over the line. Let me talk a couple of minutes on the search. I'll give you a quick update on it. We're having weekly calls now with Ken. Those will start on Friday. The names are coming in. The people are responding across the country. I asked Ken, what's the one thing that's got people's attention without you even asking? And he said, the one thing they're really focused on is the front page, which is good because where it says most important job in North Carolina, the fact that people in here are most influential people in North Carolina, and we see it as the most important job. So we are getting a great mix of candidates coming in. That will pick up over the next couple of weeks. There'll be an op-ed that'll be coming out that we're trying to get national attention on. The PR firm we've hired is doing an exceptional job. John Kane and I met with them last week. Give us an update. That op-ed has been written and now they're placing it. And then John and I will be doing a podcast to get national attention as well. Those podcasts will be recorded in about 2 weeks. So we're continuing to build the energy around our search. And then the interim, we'll approve an interim on Friday. We're working through some final details over the next 24 hours. And an orientation has already been scheduled on June 15th for the person who will be coming in to take that. And I learned that we haven't had contracts in the past with the interim. So I guess work with Janelle and Dr. Gold. We will have a contract with the interim that protects both them and the system office in taking on this new role. So a lot of great progress on many good fronts. I've really enjoyed these executive committee meetings, get us all together and hit some of the highlights before we actually get into the board meeting. So I want to thank, I think we've got 100% attendance every time. So I really appreciate that. Any questions or comments, anything I mentioned this morning? You'll hear a little bit more about each of these topics. And Jeff, you never shied the words, but
yeah,
you've been out of town, you've been in California, right?
So with the interim, we know who the interim is or will
You will vote on
We'll vote.
Friday. I'll have a complete package with the resume, 6 characteristics that Mr. Kane and I laid out for the new interim. We've met with the candidates, selected them, and once they're approved, the person will be notified. And then on the, as I said, middle of June, we're going to have almost a full day with the person to get them up to speed on the role.
Right.
The expectation in talking to Ken is that most of the candidates said they really probably can't come on board until September 1. They've got to get through the summer to get moved. So realistically, the interim will be in place about 90 days. So that'll be a resumption. The way the contract's written, it can be terminated by either party within 2 weeks.
Okay, you answered question 2. So question 3, of the candidates that you've seen, anything to share?
Oh, I'm very confident that we've got a candidate that will provide stability.
Not the interim, the final candidates. Those
Yeah,
that
this is
have-
very early.
Very early.
I will tell you, they're very broad-based from business, education. So it's exactly what we wanted, right? People who've been involved in transformations in other locations. So the key words that we used in the profile, they're noticing those terms. And I think people who feel they'd be qualified are applying. I think the way the process works, they kind of inquire, they ask questions, they get clarity.
Yes.
One of the clarity items was when they'd have to actually start. And it was when we had the discussion probably later in the summer to get time. But early indications are we are getting a good slate of candidates coming in. And it'll pick up now as we continue to promote it. I think overall we've done a good job getting the word out. And I think the PR firm is very good. We're probably going to use them because not only do we have to onboard somebody new, but we've got to get correct messaging out as they start. So I don't know, John, if you have any thoughts on that too, but I think we're pretty aligned that Echo and Vaughn are doing a great job. Had 3 people in here this week doing preparation for the podcast that we're going to do. They're really forward-thinking, big thinkers, and I think they can really complement our marketing organization. I think Nathan, they've done any comments you have on the work we've done with them?
They've been great to work with, especially as we've looked at targeting regional and national outlets. So they've certainly been a great expansion of our team.
Yeah, thanks to Mr. Kane, who's used this firm and done great work for him. So John, I really appreciate the
Yeah.
So when you say podcast,
Oh, and the webpage. You like the webpage, you just gotta go through it. So the candidates are directed to this webpage and then can apply. But they've done a great job on the webpage. Lisa, you had a question?
when you see the podcast, who's it directed towards?
Podcast will be by Business North Carolina.
Okay.
And then I can't remember what they told us, Nathan. The viewership is
It's
Tens of
over
thousands.
100,000. It's really for business leaders, industry leaders in North Carolina. That's most of their demographic for it. And really it's just the jumping off part for us in this. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to start moving the ball on this and raising awareness and be part of what I imagine will be a full campaign of additional interviews and other outlets.
Great concept.
Nathan, can you point board members to, if they go to the homepage, how do they find this page just from our college system homepage? Is there a link to it?
So there's a couple different ways for it. You
Okay.
can just certainly search for presidential profile or presidential search on here. We also have a link through our news page where we have a news story announcement about this as well. And then Amy, I can't remember if we had added a specific link at the bottom.
Under system office, there's a tab.
We put that on the page. So. Special.
You can do that.
Yeah, like a special
This is
meeting.
what it will look like. This is,
Can you do that?
and here's the website and press up at the top.
told him before, so he can hear.
Oh, Nathan, could you do like a medallion, not necessarily on the nav bar, but just a medallion to click through?
Is there a specific place you want to go to, Nathan?
Sorry.
Really nice.
So that's the profile, that there's a link on the webpage, and then there's additional. They have to go here.
So if we've missed anything, let me know. Trying to cover every single base. And again, all this is about building confidence in the new leader, in the process. So we're trying to do all the right things. That's why I asked to look at our profiles. It's probably something I missed, that it's important to have really crisp profiles because people that are applying, we were told, are going to look at the people who work for them. So they've got to be clear and concise.
Will you send this information to all of the senators and legislators so that they're aware of where we are? I mean, I think it helps exemplify that this is the most important job, and they see it once again announced as it's the most important job.
Say, Alex, how do you want to answer that?
Yes, sir. So we have, there's two, a senator and a House member on the advisory committee. They've been our main source of sharing information in the General Assembly. I know that in discussions with the General Assembly, a lot of them have seen it. They're aware of it, paying attention to it, paying attention to our meetings along with both leaders, staffs, and keeping the leader in each chamber involved. I'll also note same operation with the governor's office. So, but we've been using those advisory members of Senator Lee and Representative Willis as the main source.
Everybody received the profile. We distributed the profile to anybody who was anybody. Some people did get a week after the launch, but now we pretty much distributed to the key folks. So we want everybody to feel like they're part of this decision, much like we did in developing the profile.
And have you also sent it to the, I'm sure you sent it to Adrian at the Raleigh Chamber and the Cary Chamber, and you send it to the North Carolina Chamber for them to disseminate among their members? And if not, it might be worthwhile doing.
Gary Scalabrini got it. Jeff will say this. I think Gary would get it, and then we look to him to disseminate it.
Just trying to.
No, that's the questions I needed. That's why the profile thing I missed.
Yeah.
And but hopefully everybody will have theirs in. And if you can't get your profile redone, Nathan will do a cut at it, and we'll tell you what we're going to put. If you have a problem, let us know.
And I think Ken mentioned sending it to each of the chambers across the state.
Good.
Sure. So yes, from a car, yeah, that's correct. Send it to the chambers. Not obviously it's chamber has it.
Tom, will there be a straw man for this meeting with the interim? So that we're all at least kind of presenting the same thing, or is it going to be?
A straw man from
No, but what are you looking to cover from each one of us that have already got the invite?
Just an update,
Okay.
progress we've made,
Okay.
where we're headed.
Okay.
I wanted to get to know the committee chairs, and, understand the system where we are today, and maybe some things that we would like to accomplish in the, say, 90-day period of time that the interim will be here. The CEO joins the organization.
But when is this?
The orientation, I should have got it. Did they get a note, Amy?
16.
15th is
15.
The 15th is primarily system office staff.
system office. I think you were an exception because of the complexity of that, your involvement. I don't want to overwhelm somebody with, system staff and board members. So that's good. Thank you for catching that. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the biggest projects, and we'll have the most focus over the next 90 days. And I think your report's up next, right?
Yes.
If there aren't any other questions, we'll move on.
Okay, let me just highlight this. I'll go into a bit more detail this afternoon. But First, let me address the Canvas issue, because I'm sure you all saw the Canvas security breach. Want to recognize system office and the team. I think they did a very good job in communicating with the colleges. I think the information coming from the vendor wasn't the best. And the CEO actually apologized for the way it was handled. So I think the good news is it's behind us. Even better news was it wasn't our breach. That's the best news. But I think the team, Stephen, communicating with the colleges.
Now, am I correct in what I heard on the news that the company actually settled with the
Yes.
the bad guys?
Yeah, Canvas actually settled with Shiny Hunter, which is the vendor. Typically in these cases, you see the secondary ransom. I don't think we've seen that. Of course, we don't know what the agreement is with Canvas, the parent infrastructure, but again, they did settle. So that's the good news. Everybody's back up and running. And the good news is we clearly did not have the impact timing wise that some of the universities in K-12 did. So some universities that have actually had to defer their times because of the outage. So that's the good news. Second, let's talk about the actual 4 system apps and the transformation. So the team, I can't say enough about the team focus. Dr. Merritt, Dr. Price, Dr. Schneider. Teams made lots of progress and continue to stay focused. 46 of the 58 were reconciled for April, which is great news. No system issues at this point on CBAS, which is great news. So, it would say we can still look really positive toward the July go live or CBAS. We had a meeting last week with the team in Data Warehouse. Just got a note this morning. We all got a note this morning that the last 2 defects were closed. So, Bill and his team are really now signing off on UAT. There's a couple of open CRs, change requests. UAT is user acceptance testing. So that's great news. Lots of progress. So I would say those 2 are aligned to the same go live, right? So we're really looking at a July, August kind of go live for those 2. And then CCL is the long pole right now, which is Common Course Library. But, Dr. Merritt and his team have worked extremely hard. Lots of focus since they moved this away from HorseDog and brought it back into house at Elution. And, Dr. Merritt and team told me yesterday they were very excited about, his team is excited about what they're seeing. And they're starting to see demos. They're starting to see this thing come alive, which is, kind of driving that enthusiasm. So, guys, I feel again, I don't have all the battle scars, so I have a different perspective on this, but I feel very comfortable. Excited that we are gonna be able to get these things off the ground this, July, August timeframe.
2 things. Could you talk about the CIO meeting that was hosted at Alamance Community College?
No, that's
coming next.
It's coming in June. So
Okay.
what we're doing is again, I think it's important we as a team continue to solicit the colleges where they're helping input. They've lived, right? These 5 CIOs live with this data migration validation for 2 years. So the goal in this 2 days, Ken has graciously agreed to host us at Alamance for 2 days. We're going to sit down and talk about what could we do for deployment? How should deployment look? We can't do this one college at a time. I don't have that much time. This can't be a 4-year ordeal, right? So we want their help. We also are looking for their help around the governance. What does the governance need to look like going forward? What does data governance need to look like once we get to the shared ID? So we as a team, Patrick, myself, Deontay, are looking forward to really picking their brains. The other thing I did was just second.
I'm sorry.
Dr. Ramirez. I also invited, Ken was gracious enough to invite Ryan from Wake and Rick from Central Piedmont. A couple of the bigger ones, clearly, they'll be the challenge when you think about it, just because of their size. So, we want their participation as well. So again, looking forward to that. And hopefully we can come out with, at least a plan.
Just a question, so with Propel in mind, and Propel implementation in mind, I'm gonna keep bringing up, Con Ed registration. And where are we at with that?
Well, I just, if Dr. Merritt's on the call, he's probably the one that's
Okay.
better to answer that question. Where we are is there is an RFP that's out there. I don't know where they are in the decision process, where we're going to have a solution. It may not be a single solution. Because remember, Aleutian's Journey Project's product is not really available at this point. So we can't go with that. You've got kind of a mixed environment out there in the landscape. So I think the short term is to agree that it's similar to the ILS, the library system, where you can kind of pick and choose. I think longer term, when we have more time, then we can figure out what the long-term strategies.
But it's still a priority. And
Yes, it's still a priority. And I think for all of us, long-term, we got to have one solution.
Okay, well, I'm gonna keep bringing it up because, as we shift to, other than curriculum programming, as promised, we've got to have a mechanism for people to be able to register seamlessly. So I'm gonna keep bringing it up. Thank you for your work on it.
And then the other thing is, we had several folks, I think we had 25 folks at eLive in Denver. So I think the teams, North Carolina Community College was very well represented. I think the teams came back very excited. We saw a agentic AI solution that, Aleutian is going to deploy called Aleutian Student. I want to set the record straight. There's no panic here. It's agentic AI on top of the Banner solution. So all the work that the team's done is not throwaway. I guess I use the analogy. It's more like Microsoft with Copilot. Right? Yeah, there's a plugin. There'll be a little icon. If you want to use the agentic AI in the function, fine. If you don't, you use Banner as it is. So I think for us strategically, where we want to go, it's exciting because I think that's where we need to go. But we don't need to panic, right? The work that the team's done is not.
That was my next question. This has been a difficult lift, but we're getting to the exciting point. Last week or week before was the most exciting week I've had on this topic, which was Aleutian actually coming in and showing their roadmap of what we're going to be able to do. And I've shared that with General Assembly of where we're going with this system. Could you share with the board just a few highlights from that meeting? But before you're done with that, this is all about the tools we've had, but it's also a major part of this is data. So we've got a full court press on right now to get data from DPI so we can begin to inspire students. I spoke at a small event last night, talked about it. I've been talking about it across the street. I've talked to DPI about it. But this data and having access to the data to be able to talk about these opportunities across the state and not just in counties that have approved it is key. And that's why as we look at Bill's role, that role will evolve into really a chief data officer in that role. So that's also a piece of this whole story. And the sooner we can get this in front of the board, I think the better, because you've only heard nightmares about the ERP project. Now we're showing you what does it lead to? What are the outcomes? What are the benefits for our colleges and our students? When do you think the board's ready to see that Aleutian pitch?
Well, I think we could certainly do the Aleutian pitch whenever the board's ready, right? I think they've got a great story. Mike Wolf, who's the product guy, and I think many of you may have met Mike. Mike has actually agreed to participate in the June meeting with the CIOs. No presentation, really just a fireside chat where the CIOs are going to have the opportunity to really pepper Mike on not only current solution, but future, right? Which is nice. I think what's exciting about what Aleutian showed really is the agentic AI. When you think about it, it really takes AI to the next level, which is the tool can actually start to make decisions and process. So when you're thinking about workflows, et cetera, there's lots of things we do, staff does, that could be automated,
Yeah.
right? And so that agentic AI is really going to get us there. So I think the team is genuinely excited. We've gotten Mike to agree, Lucian to agree that they're going to deploy the AI solution, the agentic student in the 5 pilot colleges. We were told by the end of this month. So, they can actually start kicking the tires, right, with the function, which will be great. We're also talking to, because Tom's right, now that we've got this excitement, we've got something to show, you can start to build that enthusiasm. We're talking to Lucian about, the possibility of standing up sandboxes for the balance of 58. I think we have to be a little cautious because you stand them up and then there's financial implications because you've effectively issued licenses, et cetera. So we're working through that. It's not a commitment. The commitment we do have is that the 5 will get the student, Lucian student solution. Now on the data, as far as the data goes, the thing that keeps me up at night is we don't have data strategy. Right? We don't have data strategy, I think, at the state level. And we certainly don't have a data strategy here. And we don't have a chief data officer, right? So we really need, and I'm hoping that in that June meeting, the CIOs can help us define the RACI behind who owns the data, who gets to change the data, et cetera, because all that's important. If we don't get that foundation right, then we'll never get to the AI, never get to the vision, because if you have garbage, say garbage in, garbage out, that's where we'll be. So we've got to tackle this data strategy, and even more so, what is data solution? We don't have an enterprise data warehouse. We have a data that's going to be put into Banner. We don't want CRM data. We don't want LMS data, et cetera. You don't want all that going into Banner. Banner is one element of data, but we need an overall data strategy to pull in all the rest that Tom's talking about.
Because I think we've talked about ERP, LMS, CRM, and the board needs to just see is what are the outcomes? How does it impact the college? How does it impact the student? And that's what the message has got to be. When you're ready, let us know and we'll make sure we dedicate that meeting. And I'll give you a time in a committee meeting to discuss that.
Okay, well, good news is there's progress. We're on the cusp here. I can feel it.
And so, or Dale, you have any questions?
No, he answered my
You've
question.
got most of the history, Lisa. So he's looking,
It's like, it sounds like Aleutian has maybe turned the corner a bit in terms of product development, or at least I'm hearing things that I wasn't hearing in the past. Some of those products, will they replace what we currently have, the current offerings that we are, we've got a lot of IT contracts on for approval now. Do you see those being replaced by what Aleutian is potentially offering?
Well, it's a great question. It's one of the reasons why we did the roadmap, right? Because you got to figure out where they're going.
Right.
One of the reasons why I'm keep pushing to get the Banner pilot off the ground is because we need those CIOs, colleges help to figure out what the offsets are. You've got to get the tool and figure out exactly what it can replace, what's no longer needed, et cetera. They've done a cursory kind of first pass. But I think they've got to get their hands on it in their environment, where their actually users are using it to figure out what can be kind of sunset.
Right. Okay.
I think there are, and in order to bring that business case to Tom's point, we've got to have those offsets, at least a view of what they.
And I guess then maybe get that agreement of, okay, this is the baseline that we can all live with. Okay. Yeah. All right.
And then as you start to layer in things like CRM, I think 2 meetings ago, I talked about these swim lanes. We have to define the swim lanes because otherwise CRM will spill over into some of the Aleutian stuff. Aleutian will spill over into the CRM stuff. So that's where we have to define those And that's where the governance comes in. Otherwise, this thing takes on life of its own.
John, we got to the point where power users at the local colleges are involved yet, so registrars and those kind of folks.
No. And again, it's too early. Yeah, I gotta get the solution right. CIOs are starting to think about that. They've kind of
That's one of the next steps.
Yeah, defined who that user group is.
Yeah.
And then, that's the excitement we want to start building.
Yeah.
Because I believe when they see it, similar to what we saw the other day, they're gonna say, when can I get it? Because it looks that good.
And Scott, the last mile is the rural colleges that don't have the skills on site. And
Yes.
is my understanding correct from that meeting that with some of the AI tools that we integrated into future CRM, the requirement for on-site resources to support it are going to be reduced?
Well, once you define those swim lanes, et cetera, then the workflows are done, then you can start to push those across all 58, right? So it's similar to with what some of the more advanced colleges have done with CRM. Problem is they're creating their own campaigns. Campaigns can't be that much different. You're going to interact with somebody that's at risk, and you shouldn't have to have 58 people create 58 campaigns that are interacting with somebody who's at risk. You're going to be able to do it once and push it across all 58. That's the way they're going to help. The other thing is I've asked the 5 CIOs, is there a way to mentor or let's call it foster some of the smaller schools? So when you go deploy, can a Foresight help with some of the smaller colleges to accelerate the deployment, right?
President Constance, you nod your head a lot over there. So any comments you have on where we are compared to a year ago or?
Well, it's been painful, right? So, but I think we're finally seeing the fruit of our labor. I think we have turned the corner. I think our vendors turned the corner with us, and we're beginning to see what's tangible right out there in front of us. So I'm excited and enthused. The team's put in a ton of work. College has put in a ton of work. Scott's put in a ton of work. So just pleased to see us getting this close to the finish line. You're hearing positive comments, particularly around the Common Course library that frankly 3 months ago we thought was going to be at least a year out. And we were just trying to tamper the enthusiasm. But now they're starting to say we might actually get it here in July. That's the heart of the program. So so a lot of enthusiasm. So proud of the work that everybody's put their shoulders together and gotten done.
Absolutely.
Well, and I'm thinking too, like maybe the VLC would be
Yes.
a useful tool for some of the support aspect of it.
Yes.
I know that their focus now is on Canvas and supporting Canvas, but maybe it could morph into like some PD and
Yes.
quality assurance for technology, really, I guess, technology through like Fateful Tech. That quality, the technology support for this. So
Absolutely. They'll be a partner.
yeah.
Great, appreciate the update. Okay, move on now to legislative update. I think, see Steph. My notes say you're going to give the legislative update.
I had to turn.
Ed Phillips, sorry.
Yeah. Well, obviously a lot is happening this week, so I'm gonna, without further ado, turn to Alex to let you know what it is.
Yeah, I just want to start by saying thank you for the engagement on Community College Day. Thank you to the presidents, Julie with the trustees, foundation. It was all hands on deck, system office team. Deanna, if you're listening, did an awesome job. Gentlemen's work. So true effort there. Great feedback from the event from external stakeholders, including General Assembly members. So state budget at the state level, lots of moving pieces. I hope you are monitoring your emails. We're trying to keep you updated as we see things that come through. I think since the last time we met and discussed, the governor released his budget. I can't remember if we discussed that or not yet, but you received something on that. Very positive starting point for us. The General Assembly this week has come to an agreement on the foundational items to move forward with the budget negotiation discussions. We had a press conference 2 days ago. And foundational agreements was essentially the salary packages. It's all that they have brought forward thus far. That would include 3% pay increase for community colleges and system office state employees. So really good starting point and good to see momentum shift to budget negotiation meetings that are happening currently and started up last night. What that looks like is right now, education chairs have their budget targets and education policy area chairs are meeting. They will then report out to the full budget chairs and provide feedback and continue to work through those items. And ultimately, the full budget chairs will then go to the corner offices that will sign off, and then the budget will roll out and be voted on. We've heard June 15th is the date. We've heard that things are moving very optimistically forward. What has not been kind of on the table yet, but is in discussion, is obviously every component kind of on our legislative salary increase, which will be enrollment growth, LNC, the apprenticeship item, and then kind of the capital needs, et cetera. So those are all up in discussion right now on the table, which is great news. So we'll see how all that moves forward. We're continuing to stay engaged hourly right now with the General Assembly. I got calls last night at 8 p.m. Got calls this morning that came in. So all positive so far, and we'll continue to advocate there. The Propel booklet, I want to thank Nathan for bearing with me for many iterations, many iterations here. I think we have a great, well, first off, thank you for your feedback with this committee. We made a lot of great updates to it, I think, based on that feedback. As we walked through it, we added some talking points on Propel. These are talking points that were already out there, but we consolidated them down to give you a one-stop shop document here. The first 2 pages, you really see the value of Propel. And then what we did is we calculated the projected completer increase from Propel funding. And that you will see all of that here by the workforce sectors. We focused on healthcare 1, not healthcare 2. We didn't want it to get too large. And evidently there's printing issues if you go beyond 4-page increments. So I've learned that throughout this process of the binding. That was great. So, but what you see here is, again, we calculated the complete anticipated projected completer increase with LNC funding. I want to note here on the 4th page, you will see the breakdown of the Propel NC workforce sector funding. We've kind of talked about the parity funding. We saw this in Senate and House budget proposals 2 years ago, the $18.5 million there recurring as a foundation of Propel NC. That is vitally important. That's kind of air quotes phase 1. Everything depends on that parity funding and equivalent or leveling out our Con-Ed workforce funding with our curriculum funding levels. Phase quote unquote 2, which we're going out to the entire package, is the labor market adjustment shift, $50 million. In the correspondence that you received earlier this week, I specifically noted the parity funding in advocacy efforts. If budget availability comes up, parity funding of the $18.5 million has been a pretty good or a great pivot point. Again, that's if it comes up for you all to be aware of in discussions with General Assembly members. The subsequent pages, we delved deeper into each of the workforce sectors. We picked out a couple of the occupations that are the major ones that we have heard about over our span of just partnerships in general, but definitely Propel NC in our workforce sectors. So again, we highlighted a couple of that so that if you're talking with healthcare professionals or just some of them interested in healthcare, transportation, or IT, you have a talking point there about the value of LNC. So, again, really thankful for our team to help put this together. I'm not a graphic designer, y'all know that. So everybody really stepped up to help deliver that across the team. And lots of moving pieces over the next couple of weeks. As I mentioned, What does the landscape look like? We'll continue to engage education chairs right now, full budget chairs and other members of the General Assembly. Sandy Stewart and I talk multiple times a day from the President's Association as the legislative liaison to make sure that the presidents are aware of all the moving pieces as best as we can. So it's really all hands on deck. President Cox has been awesome, great support, or very supportive of what we're doing. And we're trying to keep everybody updated as much as we can with all the moving pieces. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions, where things stand, or any feedback that you all have. But again, I just appreciate everybody's support and what they do for all that we're doing. We're in the thick of it right now. So continue the hard work. Yes, sir.
Can you speak to any bills that are out there right now? I know 991 has got a lot of potential impact for us, and there's another bill that already has 3.1 million in it for apprenticeship. So can you speak to any bills that are out there right now that we need to have on our radar?
Yeah, happy to. 991, the Senate Bill 991 that went through Senate Education. It had IDD in it, some stuff on the teacher apprenticeship, teacher expansion dollars. Then it had the digital credential wallet. So I was really focused on a couple of member priorities relating to the community colleges. It will be captured in the appropriation bill, but very positive for members to speak about our community colleges like that. Sarah Lee, again, loves the IDB program, talked about how it's a shining star, talked about its growth from infancy to now over 800 individuals in it. So, I mean, again, that's really a major talking point. The teacher pipeline is an interesting one because we're kind of looking at how our EPPs operate, at the role that we can play in teacher development along with apprenticeship and utilizing that tool for those kind of initial teachers, giving them that support service. A lot of great conversations around this, a lot of interest. I know Brian Mayer and his team have done a lot on the EPP model. Slowly, our colleges more and more are becoming approved to be EPP. EPP is Educator Preparation Program, by the way. Sorry for I'm actually using acronyms. That's kind of scary. But yes, we're seeing a lot of momentum around that. 3.1 for apprenticeship is in, I can't remember the bill number off the top of my head, but it's in kind of the My Future and C package that they're rolling.
Workforce Act.
Workforce Act, yep, yes, sir, yes, sir. And apprenticeships moving forward, it's great to just kind of get it out there. There's other stuff within that bill, right? So we advocate for our system approved legislative agenda, which the 3.1 for apprenticeship is on there. So that's a portion of it that we can somewhat speak to. So, but again, that would ultimately be handled in that appropriation process. I think it shows just again the support for our system. There's a lot of other moving pieces, a lot of things that could come. So we're trying to monitor every single thing that we see. We all know support comes in many different ways, right? So we don't have to play a lot of defense, but we're definitely making sure we kind of monitor all of those bills, especially licensing bills. And again, we monitor your emails on Friday, try to lay out all the bills that we see that are related to community colleges or that we feel the system should be aware of. I guess you, Julie, and the presidents. And then, like I said, anything that we see that's priority, sure we to you all as soon as possible and as accurate as possible.
Alex, you've never been so talkative. That's encouraging.
Yeah, that's right.
I just want to give a shout out to Nathan because we talked about a lot of stuff today, whether it's Propel, the presidential search, the Gala Community College Day, the Business North Carolina, all the press releases. You got a team of two.
Yeah.
Doing all that heavy lifting. So people with the PR firm, I mean, we're bringing some resources in to help you, but I'd say more help is going to be on the way because we're all about awareness. We've got the value prop. We just have to sing it louder and more often. And you've done that for us. So I thank you because I know you've been working till midnight plus for almost the last 30 days. So I can't thank you enough. The board can't thank you enough.
We're dangerously close to adding 50% more to the staff there, right? Another employee there, right? So much needed.
This is remarkable.
This should get so completely.
Yes, yeah. Right, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
How's Papa over there? Here we go. Now, let's see.
Hey, it was a lot. Bill did a lot of data collection and I think we ended up in a really good place.
All right, let's do the round robin here quick. Jeff, anything on your plate this morning?
No, just regular
Making us aware.
updates. Everything's good.
All right, Lisa?
We have about 115 things on our agenda. Don't watch or no dose, but yeah, other than that, we're good.
It's the reason for this, it's 7, you're supposed to end at what, 6:45, Amy, originally? And Lisa's still on the agenda. Bill, anything for this meeting? Dale, none, Bill? Nope. Anything? Sarah?
I do. I have a lot. So
All right.
I will talk fast. So we've got a very robust programs agenda, but the two items for this group are the Project Kitty Hawk update and an update on the, I want to say it right, reduced hours degree proposals. So on Project Kitty Hawk, we requested, as you'll recall in our March meeting, we requested and authorized a team to begin talking with the UNC system about a system-wide agreement with Project Kitty Hawk around tuition. So the system office partnered with the North Carolina Association of Community College Presidents, small working group. It's Brian Merritt, Lisa Chapman, JP Buxton, Patty Pfeiffer. They met with Project Kitty Hawk leadership recently, including Andrew Kelly, the CEO. We've confirmed that degree graduates from AAS programs are aligned, that are aligned with critical workforce sectors to tuition rate discounts would be to align those tuition rate discounts would require a statutory change. So out of session, Alex, I'd like to talk with you and President Cox and Tom about how we might pursue that. Currently, the UNC institutions offer these programs under a self-support model. It's governed by state law and doesn't allow for the application of standard and state tuition. So things that you know. So we will refine next steps and provide updates to this group and the board as the work progresses. On the reduced hour degree programs, Dr. Merritt and his team met with UNC on May 11th for their quarterly lunch and planning session. This is a meeting they have held every quarter for several years now, focused on college transfer and strengthening partnership opportunities. And Tori Reynolds and Seth Kamen also meet with the University Transfer Leadership monthly to discuss transfer-related opportunities. So in this case, for the reduced credit hour initiative, UNC has accepted proposals. Those were shared in the May 9th article in the News Observer, which I will forward to all of you if you haven't seen it. They are awarding $20,000 to institutions to explore implementation of workforce-aligned programs in specific sectors. So 11 colleges have provided a list of courses or programs they would like to propose. I will just share with you a few of them. So for example, East Carolina pitched the creation of, that's not the right list, sorry. So UNC Pembroke, for example, 4 accelerated degree programs, interdisciplinary studies, applied business, accounting technology, economic analysis. NC State, interestingly, had some programs that align well with our transfer pathways. Those are agricultural business management, crop protection, natural resources, forest management, applied data and AI, non-clinical health informatics. So that gives you a sense of the kind of programs.
Sarah, why is this important for this meeting?
For this meeting, because the 3-year bachelor's degree that the UNC system has proposed was a topic at our last meeting.
Okay.
And so that has significant implications for whether the community colleges choose to, we would have to realign all of our transfer pathways to these accelerated reduced degree hour programs, or we would make a decision potentially as a system.
Here?
Not today. But it opens the conversation about the role of the community colleges, right, as opposed to 2-year degree programs versus a 4 or a 3. So the 3 is kind of meeting in the middle.
Thank you. I didn't understand what you were.
Yeah, sorry, I should have provided context.
I think you missed last
missed.
board meeting. There was a note that went from the presidents about the 3-year degrees from UNC
Yeah.
and our role and voice in it.
Thank you.
So that.
No, I'm glad you asked because I should have provided more context, but that's why it's important.
Okay.
And so we're beginning conversations. And so basically, the next step is just to continue the conversation with UNC.
These aren't real baccalaureate degrees, right, Dr. McGinnis? Did we have that discussion? I mean,
They're different.
they're different, and
Yeah.
those are fields that don't sound like high demand fields to me.
They're transfers. Well, I think that's what the proof will be in the pudding. They
Okay.
will submit their proposals. That's the next step. But I'd love to hear from Dr. McGinnis. But
I think you go back to what the language is in Sachs.
Yeah.
And Sachs authorized the creation of these 90 to 100 hour degrees. The language, we all need to have in front of us because it makes it very clear. They have to be labeled as less
yeah,
than a bachelor's
Yeah.
degree.
they do.
So this is a very new credential. This is a new type of credential that would sit between a 2-year degree and a 120-hour bachelor's degree that we're all familiar with. And there's no market demand for it.
Yeah, that's the thing I was gonna ask.
There is no utility for it. There is no identity for it. It's brand new. And what's being asked of by the UNC system is asking the universities to offer ideas that have not even been generated into real programs yet. So it's very, very much in the genesis phase. And I think we need to be very careful and cautious about investing time and energy into a product that
No one's asking for it.
and the utility of which and the commercial value of which would be totally undefined.
And I think what the community college system is asking for is an opportunity to be at the table as the conversations are held, rather than being brought in after the fact. So the UNC system, I think, thank you, Dr. McGinnis, but these are intended to provide an accelerated bachelor's degree. I think.
But
President
it's not,
Hans has
it's
been
not a
very-
bachelor's.
Right,
degree.
President Hans has been very clear, this is not a substitute for a degree, it's something different, an alternate route for students might otherwise be skeptical of higher education.
Who started it? The idea.
I think the UNC system.
Are they doing it to cut down costs? Is that why they are doing
They're
it?
going after the market that we identified in our enrollment report.
Right,
So the enrollment cliff that we talked about in our enrollment report of
Yeah.
the declining 18-year-old is what they're facing. They're going after adults.
They're trying to cut down on student.
That's
costs.
right.
Right.
And they're trying to reduce the cost and go after the market that we identified in that 1.1 to 1.2 million of uncredentialed North Carolinians.
Yeah.
They're going after the same market that we
From a
identified
different angle.
from a slightly different angle with a different product that nobody recognizes yet.
Giving them 3 years advance.
This is brand new.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Yeah,
Does that help? a
Yeah,
little bit?
yes, immensely. Thank you.
So Dale, let's say we don't overreact to this thing right now.
Don't overreact, don't overreact.
Right.
Okay.
It's
Don't overreact.
like an interesting
Don't
idea
overreact.
that hasn't been validated. There's even a need for it.
Don't
Don't sit at the
overreach.
table,
Don't
it's big. You
overreact.
gotta have the
seat at the table is critical.
But
It really
being in the
is.
conversation is very important to see where it's going, but let's not overreach, let's not
And I think-
overreact.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that was the piece too. So that not overreact, but get at the table.
And I'll just interject quickly. I did have a conversation, follow-up conversation last week with President Hans to say that, any conversation about more accessible, more affordable degrees, certainly that has to include the community college system. We've got to have that seat at the table, be aware of it, involved in that conversation. But I agree with Dr. McGinnis's assessment of it. We don't need to get too far ahead or too excited about it. We certainly need to have a seat at the table. We certainly need to know how whatever they're proposing is going to impact our college transfer students, and make sure that our degrees and certifications are building blocks for those students who might want to pursue whatever it is.
I want to make sure that, we're requesting a seat at the table on this, that we're giving them a seat at the table on whatever we're doing to breakthrough as well. So that's a two-way street.
Absolutely.
And when you have that relationship, then it doesn't turn into some of the controversy we had over this.
I think it was very telling that UNC Chapel Hill didn't submit a proposal. So when there were not proposals submitted by every
Yeah,
UNC
It's only
institution.
11.
And Chapel Hill did not submit one.
And I think to Tom's point, one of the real strengths of our educational system in North Carolina is the alignment and the collaboration between the private colleges, the public universities, and the community college system, because that gives students the ability to use in and out of the entire. A lot of people with 4-year degrees and community college degrees in our state, certificates, and give people multiple pathways.
Okay, I think we got about a minute. John, anything you want to add from the search or some of the work we've done? Good. I think you're good. Thanks, everybody. Anybody else? Want to, any? Oh, I need to adjourn. Okay. A motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second, Trotman. Meeting is adjourned.
What's next lunch?